program at the Maastricht School of Management, one of the oldest business schools in the Netherlands, and its potential to fast forward your career. Let me present you Hermina. She is a manager enrollment and career services for MSM. And two of their alumni, she will present them, and they will tell you more about their experience there in a couple of minutes. Your questions are more than welcome. So if you have any, please write them down in the chat box, and we will take time to give you an answer at the end of this discussion. The webinar is being recorded, so you will receive a follow-up email with it. No worries if you skip something. And now I would like to give the floor to Hermina.
Okay, thank you very much, Martina. Let me share my screen so that we can get started. While I do that, is it possible in the chat, just to practice, that if everyone can hear me, give a thumbs up, say hello to Alina, and then we can, then I'm sure you can hear me and see me. So let me introduce myself. My name is Hermina, and I am in charge of the Enrollment and Career Services Department. And in my department, basically we try to create the whole holistic experience from the first time the student is in contact with MSM via the recruiters, through to the admissions when they start applying, and then when they are at MSM, the student services, housing, and career services, and then afterwards the alumni services, so that we like to keep all the non-academic sides of things at MSM within one department, so that we can really have that overview and stay in touch from the beginning to the end. Today with me in this webinar is Alina, and Alina is the recruitment officer for the Master in Management. And so during this webinar, she will be working on the chat. So she'll be answering any questions that you have. So if I go over a topic too quickly, or if it wasn't clear, or if you need additional information, or maybe you arrived a bit later and you missed the start of the information, then you can always post your question in the chat, and Alina will be answering that and giving you additional information. So don't hesitate to ask Alina in the chat. But today we have our special guests. We have two alumni, and I'm actually going to ask them to introduce themselves. So Jolene and Farzana, can you maybe, let's start with Jolene, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, why you studied Master in Management, and what are you doing now?
Unmute myself. Hello, everybody. So my name is Jolene Ekwam. I am from Nairobi, Kenya. I studied my Master's in Management at MSM last year, so from 2021 to 2022, and graduated last year in September. And essentially, I wanted to do a Master's in Management because my undergrad I was doing a double major in economics and management, and I really liked management. I like how broad management is and how many different basically fields you can cover while doing a degree in management. And so this is what interested me in wanting to study the Master's in Management. I chose Maastricht School of Management because I wanted a specialized college, a college where the classes would be maximum like 25 people, where you really get to know your lecturers and your colleagues. I liked how diverse the university was, where it was located. And also at the time, it was also important that the fees was matching what I could be able to pay. So MSM fit all these categories. And so that is why I chose to do my Master's in Management at MSM. And it was a great decision because now with that Master's, I landed a job here in Amsterdam. I'm now working in tech sales at a pricing software company. And yeah.
Thank you, Jolene. And Farzana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Farzana. I am originally from Bangladesh, but born and raised in Oman. I did my bachelor's in urban planning and architectural design. So I wanted to explore the business part, and I basically wanted to apply for my master's abroad. And trust me, I did look around all of Europe, Hungary, Italy, UK, Germany, and somehow I was attached, or I was just very sure that once I got my acceptance letter from MSM that I want to study here. And it was one of my best decisions, I guess. So I studied Masters in Management. I was in the batch of 2019 to 2020. I could enjoy half of my university life because the other half was hit by Corona. But nevertheless, I I did have a lot of fun. We had people from 13 different nationalities, and we were so close that every day almost, I think we were there, we were meeting people, seeing each other. It was a mix of different cultures I got to learn. I think you do get to study, of course, you do get to learn education, but you learn life a lot more, how you interact with people, how you have to survive in your life. Because where I come from, it's a very pretty luxurious country, but here I did basically learn life. And I'm currently working in Hoofddorp. It's a city in, of course, Netherlands, and I would give credit to Hermina. She really prepared me for my interview, which really helped me, shape and be where I am. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you very much, both of you, for that introduction. And it does give us a good start to the topic today, because we want to talk about this comprehensive experience that you have at MSM. And to be able to do that, we'll first look a little bit at why the Netherlands, then Maastricht specifically, and then obviously MSM, Maastricht School of Management. Before going a bit deeper into the actual program, the students, and then the extra curricular career and personal development track that Farzana alluded to. And then obviously we'll cover the practical information about prices and scholarships and all of that. But as mentioned during the webinar, if at any time you do have questions, please just post them in the chat. So let's look at why the Netherlands. Well, the first one is obviously the location. It is very central in Western Europe. And actually, fun fact, but Maastricht was the city where the European Union was created because of its central location. So when you do zoom out on the map, you'll see that Maastricht is in the south of the Netherlands, and is actually in the heart of Western Europe. So Maastricht is 10 minutes away from Belgium and 20 minutes away from Germany. Another thing people like about the Netherlands is that it's English speaking and it's extremely diverse. And then the education is extremely well ranked, being one of the top 5 education systems in the world. And especially interesting is that for such a good quality education, the value for money is unbeatable at the moment. And then obviously the Dutch culture itself. The Dutch are famous for being forward-thinking and having that sustainable mindset. It's quite a flat hierarchy, which means that they are very open and direct. And so also linked to that is they do want international profiles to work in the Netherlands. And so because of that, they actually created a orientation year permit. And the orientation year permit allows students after their studies to stay in the Netherlands for a whole year. And then finally, definitely very important as well, is that the Netherlands is famous for its work-life balance, which makes it also one of the top 5 happiest nations in the world. Now, Jolene and Farzana, you're both working in the Netherlands now. First question to you, did either of you use the orientation year permit, or did you get a work permit immediately?
At the moment, I am currently using the orientation year permit, but my company is in the process of now applying for a visa for me.
Okay,
as
great.
the first 10-month initial contract to work. And then after the 10 months is lapsing, then they will provide assistance in applying for a visa.
Yeah, that's really nice. And for you, Farzana?
Same for me. I worked 1 year in my orientation year,
Mm.
and yeah, that's after that I got my residence permit.
Okay, nice. And since both of you are from different countries, I like the fact that it's so diverse here already in this webinar. How did you experience the difference in the work-life balance in comparison to your own country?
I think it was.
Jolene? Yeah,
Huh?
go for it, Jolene.
I would say it was very different. On the first day of work, I went dressed in a blazer and pants and small. I didn't wear the high heels, the highest one, but something close to that. And I got to the office, and the CEO was there, and everybody was in jeans and sneakers, and that was already for me the first culture shock.
Yeah.
And believe you me, next time I made sure to never wear heels again to the office. And it was also just they're just very laid back, and there is no, as you said, the flat hierarchy is very much, you can see that in the workplace as well. Everybody is called by their first name, whereas in Kenya, it's always you refer to people as sir or Mr. This, whereas here you just call people by their first name, which in itself shows, how can I explain that? I think, Hermina, you can better explain that.
Yeah.
The flat hierarchy, basically.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah.
And for you, Farzana, coming from Oman, that must be quite different.
It is extremely different. So I always had to struggle, even though I was born in Oman, I always had to struggle to pave my way here, and in my education, in my career. So that's when I planned to move abroad, and this was pretty different, and it was different in a nice way. I learned to say no. I learned to say what I feel. Because people are direct there, which is actually a good thing. We would always hesitate. In my culture, we always hesitate to not say no. And currently, I can speak my heart out, and people do appreciate it. If they don't appreciate your hidden words, so I think, as I said, I learned a lot in that 1 year in Maastricht, in MSM.
Nice. Right. So now talking about Maastricht, beautiful city. I always like to say to people, it's small enough to feel at home, big enough not to get bored. And Farzana, you were saying before this chat, you still come back quite often to Maastricht. Why do you like Maastricht?
So I have been, because I work from home, I can choose where I want to live. So I often go back to Maastricht, but I think Maastricht is more calmer, and it gives you the right amount of things that you need, like the right amount of socialization, the food. I find the market very peaceful. I find I don't know, it just has my heart for some reason. I've been to Amsterdam, where people hype it up a lot, but I think it's a lot for me to take in. Maastricht gives you the right balance. I can say that, yeah.
And for you, Jolene, coming
and also
from
the fact
Kenya.
that it is very much connected.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, it is. It's very connected. So yeah,
It's very much connected to Germany or Belgium. So I have my life sorted, I guess.
Exactly. And so, Jolene, for you, coming from when you arrived from Kenya, you studied for a year in Maastricht. Now you're in Amsterdam. Looking back at those days in Maastricht, what did you enjoy about Maastricht? What do you miss?
I miss the calmness that Maastricht has. There's just this very nice, calm energy about the city that is quite opposite to what Amsterdam or Nairobi, where I'm from, has. It's a lot more chaotic. People are just constantly on the go, whereas Maastricht is very laid back. I love Maastricht, especially in the summer. The views it's just a very beautiful city. It's very scenic, and also the connection to all the different countries around So going to Belgium, for example, to Liège is like a 20-minute train ride. You can go to Aachen in Germany. And I always found that to be very, very cool, because in Kenya, if you want to travel even to the neighboring country, there's quite a long process with that. You can't just hop in a train, 20 minutes, you're in another place. So I really enjoyed that aspect of Maastricht.
Yeah. And talking about that, because I mentioned it in the previous slide and also in this slide, it mentions that the people obviously can all speak English. Has that helped you in the workplace?
Yes, definitely. When I got to the Netherlands, I had a goal of trying to learn Dutch as quick as possible, because I thought I would really need it. And I still stand by the fact that I think I would highly recommend anybody who's studying, for example, in the Netherlands, to sort of do it on the side, as it does help, like in social aspects, also in your work, like when you're looking for jobs, being able to speak Dutch, especially in business language, can be very beneficial for you. But you can very much get around with speaking English, because almost everybody speaks English and speaks English very well. So you don't need it, but I would suggest to try to study it if you're going to come to the Netherlands, as it helps immensely.
Yeah, no, definitely. So final little thing we needed to look at today was why Maastricht School of Management, MSM. And both of you chose MSM, and just a few facts for the people in this webinar. Well, MSM is one of the oldest business schools. We were founded in 1952. And last year we became part of the university. So we still have that private boutique business school vibe, but at the same time as part of the School of Business and Economics at the University of Maastricht. So students now really get the best of both worlds. And at MSM, what we do is we actually specialize in being generalized. So we focus on general management education, namely the Master in Management, which we're talking about today. So it's for the young, highly ambitious, high potential candidates. We've got an MBA for people with more than 3 years working experience. And then obviously we've got some part-time courses as well, focusing on management-related topics. MSM is internationally recognized. We have schools, business schools around the world doing our MBA and Master in Management. And additionally, a lot of partnerships, which helps that wherever you go in the world, people have heard of Maastricht School of Management. And one of the things we're most proud of, and I will talk about it later, and I think Farzana already mentioned it just now, is how diverse we are in the nationalities. And in fact, since 2018, we've had more than 90 nationalities going through our programs. So we're very proud of how extremely diverse we are. And then we'll talk a little bit more in detail about our approach to the learning, the mindset that's for sustainable, and we'll talk about our alumni network and the learning experience in the next few slides. Also, just something I wanted to mention is the Triple Crown accreditation, because we now have the AACSB, the AMBA accreditation, and the EQUIS accreditation, which only 1% of the business schools in the world hold. And we have the Dutch accreditation as well, which is always nice to have if you want to stay in the Netherlands. And our Master in Management is also extremely well ranked, so we're very proud of what we're offering our students. Now, Farzana, you mentioned that you were very glad with your choice and that it just felt right. Looking back at all these reasons, why did you decide to come study at MSM?
I will share a very different experience than what my other alumni has to say. I went around the whole of Europe and I saw that English was not a priority in other countries. And I saw in Netherlands, English is not a priority, but in Netherlands it is. So I thought that my life would be much easier. I would have the comfort of being where I am, even though I would, of course, recommend that you learn Dutch. But one of my preferences of choosing MSM was also because of this, and also for my career advancement, there are a lot of international companies out there where like US based or international companies where actually so many people are so much diverse that you don't really need Dutch. I'm surviving. It's been 4 years almost. I'm surviving without that. But of course, if you think it depends on preference. At least you can choose here if you really want to be Dutch oriented, or if you want to be really in that international culture or learn English and be there. So you can have your paths. You know, at least you have the option that I can go this way. So I think before joining, this was my thought, and it did go accordingly. I did not struggle to get a job out there if I did not have Dutch. So I think I did make the right choice.
Nice. And for you, Jolene, what was your reason for choosing MSM?
I really was looking, so most of the universities that I was seeing, or at least the business schools, like Farzana, it also really interested me that the language, it was going to be taught in English, because of course this is the language that I was able to speak and easily from this. And also in addition to that, I just liked that it was a specialized college purely for management. Also when searching online, I could see like some of the reviews, and I think at the time we had a uni buddy system where you could contact previous alumni and ask them questions with regards to, how is the university? What is the experience like? Kind of like what we are doing right now in this webinar. And I had spoken to a few students because I really wanted to make sure that, I was making the right decision. And everybody was very positive. They were very positive about also the teaching style of MSM and how we also incorporate, for example, company visits, which I really liked because it gives you that like practical experience of how you can apply what you're learning at school within like, work and career and for your advancement later on. And I found that to have been very helpful for me. And so that's why I had chosen MSM.
Yeah. No, good points. And we'll come back to that just now, with learning experiences. And by the way, at the end of this webinar, I have put a link in for the UniBuddy chat, because we still do that, because we do know it's important for students or potential students to get a real feel for the school and not just hear it from me saying how wonderful we are. And so it's also nice for anyone interested. Alina, maybe you can put the link already in the chat so then people can see how they can reach out to our current students and some alumni as well. Now, as I mentioned, we also became recently part of the University of Maastricht, which is really exciting in the sense that we're now in the center of Maastricht. I think, Farzana, you asked just before the start of the webinar, so we're on the Tapijn campus, it used to be an old army barracks, and it's been completely renovated to become the first well-certified university in the whole of Europe, which means everything has been set up for wellness from a sustainability, health, good experience point of view. So there's beautiful parks and little deer and Bambis walking around and little birds tweeting, and it's a beautiful campus. But it also means students now have access to additional University of Maastricht facilities, including study rooms, sports centers, libraries, language centers, and all the student clubs and sports clubs that exist at the university. Now we get into the details of the actual universe, the MSM experience. And this photo is actually one of the things that we offer every year, and I'll talk about it just now, but it's our students participate in SDG challenges, so Sustainable Development Goals. And this year they, once again, for the second or third year in a row, won the audience award for the best pitch and the best idea. So it was just a photo that was recently taken of its combination of MBA and MM students. And so talking about our students, well, for the Master in Management, I think Farzana already mentioned how international it was. Jolene, you also had a very diverse class, if I remember. And every year it's different nationalities, different students coming from different parts of the world with different backgrounds, different experiences. And we look for that on purpose because we want students to have that learning experience from one another. We feel that's one of the biggest benefits of doing a Master in Management at MSM. And so we have students coming from Iran, from South Africa, from Kenya, from Ghana, from Mexico, from Germany, from Belgium, from Peru, Russia, Ukraine. That also made for some interesting conversations. Turkey, Indonesia, China, you can just India, of course, just keeps going. So very international, and it, like I said, it's part of the reason why students choose MSM. Now, talking about that, Jolene, if you think back to your class, what I assume it wasn't always easy, right? What were the challenges and the benefits of being in such a diverse class?
I think what I liked the most is that I believe one of the first courses that we did when I first started was diversity and inclusion. And essentially, this course was like, it gave us a foreshadowing of what the experience will be like. Because of course, when you're working with people from different backgrounds, they have different working styles. There's different ways with which people communicate. Some people from different parts of the world tend to be very direct in their communication, whereas others not so direct. And so when we had this course, then it kind of already, like, I was mentally prepared, like knowing, okay, for example, if you're in a group with people from different places, that they would address or go about something differently compared to others. So this definitely made it easier, but I cannot think of any challenges at the top of my head per se. I do think there was a lot of harmony even within this diversity, and it just worked really well. We were all so different, but then we all had the same goal of course, graduating and making sure we make the most of our learning experience. So with that being said, I got along very well with everybody in my class. It was a very, very diverse class. I remember, I think we only had one Dutch person, and everybody else was from everywhere. And beyond just learning with each other, we also used to do like dinner parties, and we meet up after classes to go to the bars and do, like, the usual student experience, life experience. And yeah, I miss that very much. And I thought that was really nice that we had such a big group of people, but it was like we were all still in this like small world together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you still in contact with your classmates?
Yes, definitely. We still actually have the WhatsApp group still
Nice.
with the class, and I hope we can see each other at some point soon, because now
Nice.
everybody's everywhere and schedules are different, but I hope to meet them soon.
Perfect. Now, talking about diversity, and I did allude to this as well, it's not just diversity in backgrounds, but also in experiences. And it's one of the most common questions we get is a master in management. I don't have any experience in management. Can I apply? And my answer is always yes, because management is everywhere. And it's the whole point for us is that you learn from one another and you get that experience where you get a different perspective. And so we want engineers to mix with lawyers, to mix with people that studied sales, to mix with people that studied IT and finance and consulting. And so we really have students coming from all different backgrounds. And I don't know, Farzana, if that was something that you also learned from during your experience being in group works with people looking at things from these different perspectives.
I lost you for a bit, so if you could just for a minute.
No problem. That's the joys of internet. I was saying that the background students were so diverse. How did that influence the perspectives of the group discussions?
Yes. So let's say we had someone from Ghana, and we had someone from India, and we had someone from Russia, and bringing them together in a table was a great experience, because you could see how each individual thinks differently. So that was a roller coaster ride sometimes, but I guess at the end we all learned that this is how it's going to be even after you graduate and you want to do a job, that you get people from very diverse backgrounds and you need to adapt to that. So this journey allowed me to learn that, basically.
Yeah, perfect. So we talked about that a lot already, the diversity. And as I've mentioned, students really come from a whole lot of different backgrounds. The group works makes it, in Farzana's own words, a bit of a roller coaster ride, but you end up being richer for it, because it provides you those new perspectives and the networks that you get up. And in some cases, we've even had students that create startups together, thanks to the program, the connections that they make. Now, talking a little bit more about the teaching itself, as I mentioned at MSM, we do a lot of learning by doing. It's a case-based learning approach. So there's a lot of cases that are discussed in class. It's not hypothetical situations. It's real companies with real problems. And in some cases, students go visit the company, like Jolene mentioned, and they actually get to discuss the problems, the issues with the company, and a lot of guest lectures, some simulation games going on. So we really try to make it relevant and interesting, and that you can actually apply the knowledge. And it's actually feedback we get from companies is that they enjoy hiring MSM students, because when the MSM students are finished their studies, they can immediately dive into the deep end and tackle the problems of the company. There's the learning period for an MSM student in a company is always much shorter, because the way they've learned is much more hands-on than a theoretical master. Now, when we look at this curriculum, we also like to think that we've future-proofed the curriculum by focusing on courses that are quite important for the future. So Jolene mentioned the inclusion course, which is called Managing Cultural Diversity. But we also look at courses that we think are going to help you in your career, to focus on needs of companies in the future, like data analytics, digital transformation, and entrepreneurship and innovation. While throughout the year also having a focus on sustainability, entrepreneurship, and this digital growth. And Jolene, if you look back at your Master in Management year, what course did you think maybe wasn't going to be that interesting and ended up being a very interesting surprise for you, that turned out much more useful than you thought?
I wasn't sure about digital transformation of businesses, even though I do realize that we are now living in the digital age, and a lot of businesses are operating and moving towards digital transformation. And this was a course that I learned a lot and wasn't prepared for. I didn't know what it would entail of. I also really liked entrepreneurship and innovation, because I believe the assignment then at the time was to basically create a business plan for a future business that you have in mind. And I thought that was really good practice.
Nice.
In the future, anybody is wishing to become an entrepreneur, then this was a good case.
Yeah. And for you, Farzana?
I would say managing cultural diversity. That was basically, we were living that life. I was there, and it was the first thing that was thrown, and it was the environment where everything was very much diverse. So it was a combination of practical and theoretical, which was kind of a nice assignment to write. And I also liked entrepreneurship and innovation, which I had no idea about what the hell is going on. And turns out I still remember my SWOT analysis, my pestos. So I was like, okay, this is something like there's a whole world out there before I came to this master's. I did learn a lot. And I would also say about organizational behavior, which actually helps me later on, maybe not then, but later on, to realize that how each hierarchy or everyone should behave and how it is supposed to be. So yeah, that's right.
Nice. So actually, I like asking this question to alumni every time we do a webinar, because the entrepreneurship and innovation is very often mentioned. It seems to be always one of the courses students don't expect to like and end up being surprised by how good it is. So it's good to hear that again. Now, regarding the uniqueness of the curriculum, there's also some additional things that we throw in to help our students prepare for after the master. And one of them is this personal development portfolio, which throughout the year you get workshops on your personal and interpersonal skills. You get a company consulting project where you work on a project for a company on a real issue that they have. And then there's also a supply chain management project. And then obviously there's the thesis. Now, Jolene, if you think back to your personal development portfolio, how does that work? I think it's like 6 or 7 courses per year, and you've got a professor that walks you through that?
Yes. And we do different, each course is targeted towards different personal skills that you can develop. So the course will start with explaining the different types of personalities. For example, you do a lot of tests, the MBTI test and different personality tests. And I think it was really helpful in helping me also learn more about myself, the way in which I communicate, and all the things that I needed to still build on in my interpersonal skills that is still helping me till date.
Yeah.
So
Nice. And Farzana, for you, if you think back on the company project, do you remember if it were what the company you worked on? Do you remember which one it was?
I do remember it was related to an architectural company, because me and Sarah, my friend, colleague, she was also an architect. I was an architect, so we went with an architectural firm, and very faded memories. But I think we went to Rotterdam, and we had an interview, and I think we were walking our journey there. With our past experience in this one.
Nice. Perfect. So that's the whole point. It's to combine all the knowledge you've used and learned in the past and be able to put it all together into real life situations. And then finally, additionally, to create this holistic, comprehensive experience at MSM, we also provide a career and personal development track. Now, this career and personal development track is something that we do, which is extracurricular, and we aim to help students prepare for the job markets. And so we focus on 3 different pillars of this. The first is the personal development, but related to career. So career development, like in psychometric testing, linked to your work, improvisation skills and adaptability, career planning, and things like that. But then we also look at specific career skill development, like CV writing, motivation letter writing, interview techniques, networking skills, and things like that. And then also very important is the social side, where we work on social themes and networking opportunities for our students. We do themed movie nights, debate nights, sustainable topics, and then various student competitions I mentioned about. And so throughout the year, we try and provide the students with this growth in career and personal development, so that when they finish the studies, they not only know where they want or what they want to do after their studies, but also potentially in which type of companies they should be applying. Now, Farzana, you mentioned it just now, because I remember you were also very active in this. What really stood out for you from these workshops? What did you really enjoy and why?
I would say that I did enjoy also. There was something that we did with you. I clearly remember at least the basic etiquettes of greeting people.
Yes.
That you need to look at their eyes and speak to them. That shows your confidence. That shows that you are confident. So that was, I guess, that comes in all of this. That skill. It was a skill. It was personal. It was social. It was for a social purpose. So that was one of the courses that I also enjoyed with you. And building. I think everything here, the career planning, the CV or letter, which I don't know, you have magic wands, you do something which really shaped us. And I would write something, and Hermina would translate it or like help me, shape it in a way that was market ready. But I was not doing it for the market ready. I was just doing it from my personal experience, but the world out there is different. So of course that helped me a lot over there. um, yeah.
Yeah. No,
The
definitely.
social nights were amazing. Movie nights, debate nights, they were also nice. It helped you, interact with people, of course, but also these kind of things made you feel less homesick, like international nights and these kind of nights. It was like, okay, you're home, but away from home, but still, you know,
Yeah.
in a certain environment, looking for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. That's very important what you just mentioned. That's also partly why we do it, because we know that through these social activities, you also grow as a group and in yourself. And so that's also very important. And Jeline, for you, looking back, what do you remember? What stood out?
Yeah, so with regards to this, I really liked that it was shaped in this way, the career and personal development track, because what you do find is most of us who are doing the Masters in Management programs, some people, of course, have had 2 or less years of work experience, but we're all still very fresh in terms of our career and where we're going with it. So this was like very ideal and just perfect for this group of people who want to develop in that way. I remember when I first started at MSM, my CV was this colorful pink, red, everything. And we helped to clean that up in the skill and development workshops with the CV. I think it was a CV workshop that we did where we were able to, help to change that. And we also did a lot of interview technique practices, which really helped when I was now doing the job search and doing interviews. I had personal mock interviews also with Hermina, which actually we just spoke before this call. And I was letting her know that I did get the job for the mock interview that we were preparing for. So that was really nice. And beyond that, I think what really, I always say, the best part for me at MSM was with all the classes that we did, there was so many presentations. And at first, like, my presentation skills were not like non-existent. I knew I could stand up in front of people and I could speak, but the more often you do it, the more like you kind of learn and it sort of becomes natural. Especially now that I'm working in sales and having to meet prospects and having to talk, and I really think MSM helped build that backbone for me with all the classes and the number of times we had to stand in front of the class to present something. It really did help improve also like how eloquent you are, the way in which you relay information. And these are things that will help you from, your whole career life, basically.
Good point. So we often get that feedback as well. Students that totally feared public speaking, they say at the end, they've done so many that fear has disappeared. Now, I did briefly mention the student challenges because we do find this is an important way to also, in a fun, interactive, competitive approach, students get linked with companies on topics that we know are important for the Dutch market. And then they go to the company for a day, they meet all the CEOs and the CFOs and the CTOs, and they talk about the issues, and then they look at how they can help them be more sustainable depending on what the challenge is. And then we always do it in a pitch, so that students can also work on getting to the point quickly, and so it also helps them from a career perspective for later. So this is just a summary of why MSM, the Master in Management, is so comprehensive and will help you therefore make a more attractive selling pitch for the job market after you finish your studies. So you've obviously got your curriculum and then all those specific things that help with your Master in Management that we talked about, the hands-on learning, your assignments at both individual and group assignments is going to teach you various skills, The software, the soft skills is going to be constantly developed throughout the year, both consciously and subconsciously. Jolene just mentioned this presentation skills, and effectively also with the group works, that communication skill, the cultural awareness is going to be extremely important. We didn't mention too much the pressure cooker, but it's a 1-year master in management, but with nearly 2 years of courses squished in. So it is a very intense year, but the aim is to get you back out into the job market as soon as possible. So it is very intense, but that's also where you get to learn about time management and stress management. And then we mentioned the fact that there's this practical side of things to help with just getting that hands-on job feel. The practical information. So the first thing is that the tuition fee for the Master in Management is 16,000 euros. And we have a scholarship, several scholarships that students can apply for, but there's a maximum of 40%. I would like to highlight that the early bird discount the early bird deadline is coming up. So if anyone is interested in joining the program, this program starts in September 2023, end of September. So that early bird discount is till 1st of May. So if you are interested, you basically have a week or 2 left, maybe 3, because by 1st of May, you need to have paid this part of the tuition fee. So if you want to get that discount, make sure you apply very soon. There's the Dean's Development Fund. Depending on which country you come from, there will be an automatic discount to help students from all different countries in the world join the program. And then we also have scholarships where you have, where it's more based on eligibility, so the academic excellence. There's a Women Ambassadorship and SCG Changemaker Scholarship. So if you're involved in sustainability, or if you're fighting the gender bias issue in some way, you can apply for these scholarships. So how do you do this? How do you apply? Well, the first thing is you upload you go to the MSM application portal, and I think Alina will put the link on the chat as well. So it's campus.msm.nl. Then you upload a whole lot of files that are important. CV, your bachelor transcript. If you're still busy with your bachelor and you know you'll be finished obviously before the start of the program, you are allowed to put in a temporary transcript that's incomplete and then send us the complete one later on. So that is a possibility if you're still studying. You need your proof of English, your passport, your ID, your professional or academic reference, which you do via our system, and a personalized motivation letter. That's very important, and there are guidelines on our website. For the proof of English, the guidelines are also on our website. All the TOEFL or IELTS scores that you would need, you can find there. Additionally, very important, it's just to remember that our Master in Management is up till 3 years of work experience. If you've got more than 3 years, say now you've got 3 to 4 years, so you're in that gray zone, you need to contact Alina specifically, send her your CV, and she will have a call with you. Anything more than that, then we recommend you apply for the MBA. So that is just something I need to highlight as well. And then the application fee is 95 euros once you've applied. Then we will, and our admissions review everything, and everything looks good. They invite you for an interview. In the interview, we make sure that you're a good fit for the program, but that the program also is a good fit for you. And then after you're admitted and before the start of the program, you get to complete either 5 foundation courses, so leveling courses, that will cover topics that will be important to help you in the Master in Management. Or if you do have a GRE or a GMAT score of 600 or higher, then you can be exempt from these leveling courses. And then lastly, as I've mentioned, if you want more information, you can contact our recruiters. So that's Inka and Alina's email addresses. As mentioned, Alina was in the chat today. There's our admissions office, which you can contact directly. There's the students that I mentioned you can chat with, so you can ask them. And then there's our website, our YouTube. We've got lots and lots of videos about other webinars and masterclasses. And then you can always follow us on social media and Facebook, Instagram. And then on our website as well, you can follow our news and events, because we do come to various countries. So if we can meet up with you to talk about the program, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And that is it for me for now. And I'm sure there are lots of questions for our alumni or for me. So Alina, over to you now.
Yes, thank you so much, Hermina. We do have some questions, some of them for the alumni and some of them for you, Hermina. So my first question is for Jolene and Farzana. Please share your experience with the admissions process.
Yeah, so for me with the admission process, what I did is I had a notebook, wrote down all the requirements from what was needed. I thought it was relatively straightforward. I made sure to get all the documentation right so that before I could go to the embassy to file in my application. And yeah, if you just follow and ensure that you have all the documents that is requested from you, I think it's a relatively straightforward process. I don't know how it is in other countries because I was applying from Kenya, and I think it took me about 3 months to get through everything. I was also able to enjoy the early bird fee discount because I quickly applied just before the due date, which I think was also May last year. The year before. And and then doing the foundation courses, I did that just, I think, a month before and made sure to get the score. I think it was over 70% that you needed to get for each of the courses. So I did do some reading from my bachelor's and also just from knowledge that I had from before in order to prepare me for this course. And I think it was quite straightforward.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Farzana is still trying to reconnect because her internet dropped. So Jolene, the next question is also for you.
Yeah.
Which was the most interesting subject during the program?
I think I mentioned that it was entrepreneurship for me. I think that was one of the most interesting ones. And I also really did enjoy supply chain because I think it was one of the company visits. We went to a very big company, and that excursion was very interesting because we learned a lot. It's a topic that I was completely unfamiliar with. I knew nothing about supply chain. So that in itself was really nice to be able to learn about that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Next question is for Hermina.
Yes.
Could you share more about how MSM enables one to pursue a global career?
Well, firstly, in the curriculum itself, right? It's a curriculum that touches on nearly every aspect of business. So whatever career you want to get into, it's going to help you have a helicopter view of companies. And so that can be applied worldwide. Secondly, the reputation helps. So the fact that MSM is well known around the world does definitely help for a global career. But I think most importantly is the international profile of the students itself. Being in class with such a diverse cohort of students coming from all over the world is going to prepare you with that necessary sensitivity to cultural differences. It's going to help you in your cultural communication, which is very important to be able to influence and talk to people from different countries and different backgrounds, because the way you talk to an engineer will be different to the way you talk to someone from marketing. And all of this you're going to learn during your Master in Management. And then, as I mentioned, we have the career and personal development track, which throughout the year we prepare you in a more practical way, giving you all the tips you need, helping you with figuring out what you want from your career and how you should go about achieving that, preparing you, teaching you some skills that will help you after your studies. And so that's what we do to help with that global career. And effectively, we have alumni all over the world. So that's not a problem.
Thank you so much, Hermina. And the next question is, because you talked a lot about the career service as at MSM, the next question is related to that. Mainly, how does MSM help graduates after students after they graduate to pursue their career? Do they get any kind of advisement, or how does it work?
So we start off helping by starting from this day one. So when you arrive, one of the first courses you have or first workshops you have is on career services. So already while you're at MSM, we pave the way, because we think if you only start thinking about your career after your studies, it's already too late. It's a missed opportunity. And then during the year, we help you throughout the year. And then often after you've finished your studies, that's when students really start looking for work, and we help them with, like Jolene mentioned, mock interviews. So Farzana mentioned, we help with reading and giving feedback on CVs and motivation letters before you apply. So we help you in a very personalized way in that way to give you some recommendations on the type of companies you should be looking for. We brainstorm with students when they start getting stuck. We also offer alumni networking events so that alumni can help meet one another. And I regularly have calls and contact with alumni, even 5 years down the line, that are thinking about changing jobs or have an interview coming up and they want to, or negotiation for their salaries. And then we still have a call. So you're never too old to be in contact with us. There's no alumni that's been too long ago study that we can't help. So once you're in the MSM family, you're stuck with us. Evil laugh. Wow.
Great. Well, I don't have any other questions at the moment. We do have just a couple of minutes. So if you still have a question, you can still add it in the chat. If not, we can wrap up the session.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I think, Martina, you wanted to say a few words to wrap up?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for sharing this really interesting and insightful information to our attendees. I want to take everyone that take of their time today to join us. I want to remind you that you will receive a follow-up email with a recording of this webinar. I hope that we helped you for making your decision about applying at MSM. And on behalf of our team, I want to wish everyone a good luck in their academic journey and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Martina. Thank you, Alina, and thank you, Jolene and Farzana, if you're back, for all the help today, for the answers, for helping provide these potential candidates with insights. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.